Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to your girl channel. What is up, you guys? You guys, I'm so excited because this is gonna be my first time trying out a palette from Sigma. Everyone raves about Sigma. They rave about their brushes, their eyeshadow palettes. Everyone goes crazy. I have never experienced anything from Sigma before, and I really wanted to start, purchasing from brands I haven't purchased before, and this palette definitely caught my eye. First of all, it's a Disney collaboration. It's with Cinderella, and I was like, okay, I love that. I love the packaging. I love everything about this palette. This is a very different color story, which I'm super, super excited about, and I really just thought this palette was the time to try out Sigma's formula because I hear so much about it, and I'm honestly really happy that I did. So this palette right here retails for $49. Yes, this is on the very expensive side. Like, girl, expensive. So when I buy a palette and it's that expensive, I have to really grapple if it's gonna be worth it. Even though I never tried this formula, but this palette was just so beautiful. I'm not gonna spoil too much for you guys, but if you guys don't want to see the eye look, I am about to spoil if I like this palette or not. So if you want to wait till the end, to hear, then or if you want to just see how I got this look, definitely continue watching. But I did enjoy this palette. I really, really enjoyed it. At first I was like, okay, can this palette be built up? But it definitely is a buildable formula, and this palette kind of made me step out of my comfort zone a little bit because it is so cool toned. There is literally it's not warm tone at all. So it's like I normally gravitate to more warm tone shadows. Let's go ahead and move on to the eye look, and let's just see this journey of Sigma shadows I went on. So we are going to just dive right in. I am super excited about this palette because I have never used Sigma's eyeshadows before, and I really, really hope that they are definitely worth the $49 that I spent on this palette. So we're gonna see. This palette is just so beautiful. I don't know what I'm gonna do today. I feel like these purples in this palette are just absolutely beautiful. I kind of want to go more grungy since I am wearing black today. I kind of feeling the grungy vibes. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with this shade right here. This is, oh my gosh, my ring light is washing it out. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with this shade right here called Pumpkin. The packaging is so reflective, so it's really hard to kind of see everything. But yeah, so Pumpkin is gonna be our transition shade. So I'm just gonna take this and see what it does. It is a very light shade, but I feel like I can probably build this up, maybe. We will see. It is very light. I don't really know if this shade is going to show up too much on my skin. I see the lightest hint, but so this shade is really, really light. So I'm going to go into this shade right here called Cinders. I'm going to take that and kind of just go over that shade. Okay, now this shade is perfect for a transition. This is kind of what I thought that pumpkin shade was going to do. So first impressions, the shadows are blending out beautifully. I feel like they're just so soft, and it's really blending out seamlessly. My eyelids are primed. I'm gonna quickly go on my Jaclyn Cosmetics under eye palette and kind of just brighten up my under eyes. I was gonna wait to do this, but y'all, I just really feel like I need to do this. It also kind of helps to clean up my blush too. But yeah, I just needed to do that to kind of soften up the blush because it was looking a little harsh. Also, this brush, I really, really like this brush as well. I think it's super, super soft. Normally, I'm not the biggest fan of palettes that come with brushes because I don't really get the most use out of them. But this one is a full-size brush. It feels like a normal brush. It's just double-sided. And I really like that for this. So this is a really pretty transition shade, very, very soft. I think now I'm gonna go into this shade right here called Kinders. Ignore my nails. I'm getting my nails done this week for your girl birthday, so y'all gonna have to bear with me. But I'm just gonna take that shade, Kinders, and I'm just gonna start to kind of run that in the crease. I'm also just using the same brush because why not? The shade isn't really picking, okay, there we go. kind of had to dig my brush into the pan to kind of pick this up. This shade is not as like deep as I thought it would be, like kind of how it is in the pan. It's not that deep on the eyes, so that is one thing to note. It kind of just blends into those two transition shades. So I might have to go in with an even deeper shade in this palette to kind of like deepen this up, because it's all just kind of like blending together. I'm going to try to use as many shades in this palette as possible. This shade definitely does build up. I wouldn't say that it is exactly I wouldn't say it's the exact same shade that you see in the pan that is on my eyes, but it does blend out really beautifully, very seamlessly. I think it's really pretty. It's a really pretty soft purple. So yeah, that's nice. We're gonna deepen this look up because I really want this look to be like deep and kind of sultry. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the next, I guess this is kind of purple. This is the shade Stroke of Midnight. I'm gonna go ahead and take that shade, and we're gonna see if this is gonna give me the depth I was looking for. I feel like this is just gonna blend right into that purple. Yeah, it's definitely just blending right into that purple. There is one more deep shade in this palette, but we're just gonna see if this builds up. It definitely does add a little bit of depth into this look, so that is nice. I just want to go even deeper. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this shade called Mischievous, which is the black in the palette, and we're just gonna take this shade and we're just gonna, ooh, very, very pigmented. Ooh, yes. Okay, we're just gonna place this in the, oh my gosh. Okay, now this shade packs a punch. Wow, that is a very, 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 very deep and pigmented black. That can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. I love pigmented blacks, but I just really love that I was able to smoke out this outer corner. This is exactly what I was hoping for and what I wanted. But you guys, not gonna lie, I really, really like how these shadows blend together. I think they blend very beautifully. Of course, the first two shades, you know, but I think they blend out really, really beautifully. And I'm able to smoke out this look. It did take a couple of shades to get to this point, but I'm not mad at it. This is what I like because you can easily work with it, you know? Okay, now this is the part I am really, really excited about. The shimmers. What shimmer are we going to use on the eyes today? I have no idea, but I love that we're just going really, really sultry and black, and I'm loving it so far. I really like this, this purpley shade. That's pretty, but it feels really, really soft. It's beautiful. I kind of thought this was going to be like a topper shade, but it's not. It actually has a good amount of pigment to it. So I could use this on the lid by itself, or I could use it as a topper to add that sparkle. They have this shade right here, One of a Kind. Super, super beautiful. Ooh, I wonder if this is how all their shimmers feel. They kind of feel like silky soft, but that shade is beautiful. I might go in with that shade or a blue. I don't know. Fantasy is also really stunning. Really, really gorgeous. Ooh, wow. I love Fantasy. Ooh, I think I might go with Fantasy because that is super stunning. I feel like those three that I swatched are kind of topper shades. Charming feels more like shimmery, like an actual shimmer shade. That's beautiful as well. I don't know if I want to go gold today. This shade right here, Fantasy, is the shade I'm going to take. And we're just gonna see, because it might end up really looking like a topper. Oh, it kind of does look like a topper on the eyes. No, it didn't swatch like a topper. No. Okay, so we're gonna have to do an actual shimmer on the lid. I think I'm gonna take the shade, we're gonna take the shade Wishful. And I forgot about this brush already. I'm gonna actually take this brush right here, and we're gonna go into this shade right here called Wishful, and I'm gonna put this on my lid to give those, oh, this is super silvery. Oh, that's super, super silvery. What do we think about this shade? I don't know. I don't know if this is the shade I was kind of going for. But we are going to kind of like top it with one of those like shimmery shades. So this is kind of just like a shade I'm going to put down as like my base. wasn't really going for this shade, but we will apply that topper on top. Let's go back into Fantasy. I'm just gonna take the same brush and we're gonna kind of like go over this to get that purple effect I was looking for. Ooh, that's so pretty. I don't know if you guys could see that on camera, but it just added a little bit of like sparkle to it. I wonder how it'll be if I kind of like wet my brush. So I'm just gonna take some on the brush and I'm gonna take my Fix Plus and give it a little spritz, and then we are going to pop this on this side. Yeah, so honestly, using the Fix Plus, it kind of low-key kind of like dulls it down. I don't know if I like it with the Fix Plus. Or does it kind of makes it more metallic-like, which I'm not mad at it, but it does help with the fallout, and it kind of got rid of that like that silvery kind of shade that I wasn't really going for. But I kind of like this more. It just feels a little bit more sultry. This is really a simple look. I think I'm going to go into the shade One of a Kind, and we're just going to see what this shade does here. Just kind of like tapped in the center. It kind of just blends in with that shade we just put down. Wow, we are really, really sparkly, shimmery. But what do we think? Super easy look. Super, super easy look. I'm just going over the outer corner to add back in that depth. Make sure it's all blended and seamless. There is a ton of fallout on my face. Do y'all see that shimmer? Oh my gosh. All right, so what I'm gonna do is add some lashes and some mascara, finish up the rest of the makeup, and then we will be back for my final thoughts on this palette. All right, guys, so here is the finished look. Okay, let me share my final thoughts on this palette because I have some thoughts. Honestly, I really like this look. I know it is super simple, but I didn't want to like add any extra things to it, like glitter, or, you know, I just wanted to strictly use the palette, you know, because I wanted to see what this palette is gonna give me and if it's gonna give what it's supposed to give. Now, for my first time using a palette from Sigma, I think it's a really good quality palette. The shades in here are really, really gorgeous. It's so hard to hold this up because the camera just like washes out everything with the packaging. It's just not mixing together. But I honestly really enjoyed this palette. I was a little bit skeptical about the first shade that I went in with because I thought it was going to be deep enough to show up as a transition shade, but then I just had to keep building it up and going deeper and deeper. My favorite shade in this palette is the black. This is a very pigmented black in this palette. I also really enjoyed the shimmery toppers. You guys saw them, like when I swatched them, they looked like they had a lot of pigment in them, so I could use them on their own. But when I went to put them on the eyes, that was definitely not the case. But I like that I was able to get what I was looking for by piling on that shimmer on top, that like toppery shade on top of that shimmer. When I wasn't like, that wasn't really the vibe I was going for, but I love that in the end it like kind of worked out in a way. But I will say I think I really like this look because it is more on the cooler tone side. And that's what I really like about this palette. It is very cool tones. I feel like if you love cool tones, then you'll really like this. I love that the colors are super, super muted in this palette. I think that's really beautiful. This makes for a very different color story, you know, out there in the beauty community. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I cannot wait to play with the rest of the shades. Now, this palette was very expensive. Do I think that you need this palette? I don't think you necessarily need it, but if it's something that you really like and you want to know if the quality is good, and if you just like the color story and you really are skeptical or you're thinking about picking it up, I'd say definitely go for it. The formula is great. I thoroughly enjoyed it for my first time using a Sigma palette. I think this is the one that like really spoke to me. So I was like, I have to get this. I just have to. And the fact that it's a Cinderella collab, I just think is super cool. The packaging is nice. It feels luxe, and it also comes with a brush, and this brush honestly feels pretty high quality. I really love the fluffy side for blending because it blended out the shadows beautifully. Everything just came together. I love that I was able to build up this palette. I would say with that like toppery formula, there are 3 topper shades in this palette. The 2 topper shades I used ended up looking pretty similar, so it kind of would have been nice to see a different shade in this palette to like replace that toppery one. Maybe more like, instead of more purple base, more like blue based for shimmer. I'm not really getting blue in here. There are 2 blues in here, but would have loved to seen a blue in the like toppery formula. All in all, I think it's a really great palette. I had fun playing with this palette. This palette is definitely calling for cool toned looks, but yeah, I like it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this video was helpful in you making a decision on if you should pick up this palette or not. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you go, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.